We've talked about why your espresso tastes bitter. Why does your espresso taste sour? When I'm working with new coffee tasters, the difference between sour and bitter is actually something that's kind of hard to tell. A lot of times in life we associate these two flavors together, and in terms of coffee, it's best to think of them separately. Sour coffee can have this underripe, tart, and sort of acidic feel to it, where bitter coffee is going to have more of like a plant fiber or medicinal sort of taste, like chewed aspirin. Today, we are exploring what makes coffee sour and how to work around that. The first reason why your coffee is turning out sour is the type of coffee you are using. Light roasted coffee has a tendency to taste sour. The big reason behind this is what happens during the roasting process. Before coffee is roasted, we start off with a tropical fruit. These fruits have a lot of sugars present, have a lot of naturally occurring acids present, and are just, in essence, very tropical. Once you start roasting, we're going to start to see those sugars caramelize, some acids burn away. So the darker you roast, the more acids are going to be burnt away and the less sour it's going to taste. That's all to say that if you don't like how your coffee is turning out and you think it's too sour, try one roast level darker. That should help sweeten it up and make it a little bit more lively for you. Personally speaking, I love light roasted coffee and those really, really bright flavors, so there's another strategy we can leverage. Our next strategy is managing extraction, specifically under extraction. To keep things simple, extraction is the process of getting the soluble material out of your coffee and getting it into your espresso. And it happens in a predictable order. The first things to pull out of the coffee are our acids and fats, and that develops acidity and sourness and flavor. Sugars dissolve second, developing some sweetness, and plant fibers dissolve last, and that develops bitterness in coffee. So when we taste an under-extracted coffee, it has that really sour experience to it. If our coffee is under-extracted, the first thing I look to is my grinder. I want to create a space where the water is going to interact with the coffee longer, so that means I need to set my grind size finer. The visualization I use when adjusting my grind size is water pouring through gravel versus water pouring through sand. It flows really easily through coarser material and has a harder time passing through fine material. And if my coffee turned out sour, it likely came through too fast. So by moving to a smaller grind size, I'm going to have the water interact with those coffee grounds for longer and create a more balanced shot. When it comes to my dose and tamp, I like to treat those as constants. For my espresso recipes, something that I personally love are 20-gram doses for espresso. That's not for everybody, but knowing it and having it be on purpose is important. If you wanted to correct an under-extracted shot, you might add an extra gram or maybe half gram of coffee, as adding more material in the way will slow down the flow of water, increasing your extraction. When it comes to tamp, keep that consistent. A good level tamp that isn't too light is key to getting a full extraction out of your coffee. Lastly, I keep temperature in mind. At a lower temperature, the water is going to have a harder time dissolving the solids from the coffee and leads to under extraction. So if I'm brewing a lighter roasted coffee, I am moving my brewing temperature up higher so that way it is easier to dissolve everything and get a full rich cup. The reason why I save temperature for last is not every machine has the ability to adjust temperature. We'll be using the Diletta Alto here, which is a dual boiler espresso machine with a PID. Because of that PID control, we have a big influence over our coffee's brew temperature, and that does have an impact on how the coffee turns out. So now that we've talked through some strategies on how to fix sour coffee, I'm gonna work through it with you. Today, I'm gonna be brewing up some Onyx Tropical Weather, and this is gonna start sour, and then we're gonna work through it and improve it until we get to a really good shot of espresso. We're gonna explore what not to do and make a sour espresso. I'm gonna try and set this up and how I would accidentally do it. So I'm gonna keep my dose the same, but maybe I haven't adjusted the temperature on my machine yet, so it's gonna be at a lower temperature, and we're gonna have a larger grind size. Let's get that going. some. So I currently have my boiler set at 192. Maybe I was brewing a dark roast last, and that's gonna be much too low to brew a light roasted coffee like this one. Making sure we're evenly distributed and ready to go. All right, let's get brewing. There it goes. And that also brewed really fast. That's an indicator my grind size isn't quite right, but we're gonna just take a look at this and try it out. Yeah. For acidic coffee, it has this underripe flavor. It's not always like lemony sour, but it is like biting into some kind of underripe fruit, whether that's like an underripe blackberry or like a green mango in this case, and it is not pleasant. Now we're gonna kind of go through the steps to make this coffee pull correctly. So now that we've pulled one shot and kind of seen what it looks like when it turned out really sour, we're gonna make some adjustments to improve it. First off, I'm gonna start by adjusting my boiler temperature to be around 203. That's sort of where I like to be with this coffee. It's gonna be hotter, pull more of those solids out, and really balance out the flavor. The other major adjustment that I am doing right now is with my grind size. That first shot pulled in 15 seconds and was much too fast. So I'm gonna make my grind size finer and add a little more resistance to it. So starting up, we're gonna just turn our little dial here. And I'm gonna go a full number finer because that was way too fast. Doing the same dose. It's important when you are changing things with your coffee to really try and change them one at a time so you know what exactly you're influencing and the impact that it has. So now we're just gonna throw this in. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, so this is gonna be much finer than the first time that we brewed. I have our original grind size right here, and then when we look at this one, it is gonna be a much finer powder. This is just a little bit coarser, where this feels a little closer to, it's not quite silt, but it's a finer sand. Now, I mentioned wanting to keep my dose size the same, so I'm gonna save these coffee grounds here, so that way we're good to brew. Keeping everything about the routine the same. Same distribution style, same approach. This is gonna rule out anything extra that might be going on. All right, let's brew some coffee. A little more gentle and more uniform, but we're starting to see it go awry again. I might need just one more adjustment on this to slow it down. We'll try out this coffee just for a taste. And it's on its way. That first shot was super underripe. This one has just kind of a brightness to it that I think can be tempered out with a slightly longer brew time. That one, this shot brewed in about like 22 seconds, and I really want to push this coffee a little bit longer so that way we can have a more balanced coffee. So since that second shot still pulled a little fast, I'm gonna make one more adjustment to my grind size. I got about halfway to where I wanted for my recipe's timing, so I'm gonna make adjustment of about the same size of a full number count on my grinder here. Right on through the process again. same. Much better controlled drop. The espresso is thick and syrupy. This is looking beautiful. Excellent. Rich, beautiful layers across all of our espresso, much more controlled. It's even better on the nose. It smells sweeter, actually, and this is exactly what I am going for. And that's one of the reasons why I like light roasted espresso. The shot timing was about 31 seconds, and now we have this beautiful like mango note in the profile. This is something that I would love in my cortado in the morning. This is my kind of coffee. This is awesome. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can get espresso tips out to more people. If you're still having issues, be sure to let us know and we'll troubleshoot with you.